Hey there, guys. Welcome back to Star Night Research. Just want to thank you guys for coming to my channel, as well as staying subscribed to my channel. And for today's topic, we're going to be going over the recent TerrifiCon that was this past weekend, as well as the new Fantastic Four movie. My guest, VelvetJoker, should be arriving on the scene pretty soon. But I figure in the meantime, if you have any questions about either the movie or the convention, just feel free to mention anything in the comment section, and just let me know. Just a second there. That's good. So, VelvetJoker should be joining onto the show very soon. Though I will say, I think for TerrifiCon, amazing job this year. Unfortunately, I was only there just for one day, but still, it was Saturday, and Saturday, that's usually the biggest day for any convention. And I finally recently got to see the new Fantastic Four movie, and I have to say, it does live up to some of its hype. It's pretty good. I would definitely say the best out of any other Fantastic Four movies that came before it, especially with the cast. But I'll dive more into that later once Rich gets started. By the way, I think Marvel is shaping up to something really big, especially for Avengers Doomsday next year. But I would say, though, for Mitch Halleck, if you ever get a chance to see this, I'll just say congrats on doing 10 years of this convention, and I hope we get to see another 10 years of this with the guests you bring in all the different kinds of cosplayers, comic book artists, writers. Really, just it's an amazing job. Now, I guess that's one thing I would say, that, with Marvel, of course, we have 3 movies. So feel free to mention which you think is the best Marvel movie so far. Personally, I would say it's a tie between, I think, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, just because I like the group dynamics. And I would say I think I definitely like the dynamic with the Thunderbolts a little bit more than Fantastic Four, just because it's with characters I'm not familiar with. But that's me. But that's me. I mean, not to say that for the new Captain America movie, that wasn't so bad. Just wish there was a little bit more with seeing Red Hulk than just the end, because I feel like it's kind of takes the the fact that we know that it's coming, yet they save it just for the very last part of the movie. But that's just me. Though, of course, I'd say for luckily next year, we're getting Tom Holland's Spider-Man back. Although some people were hoping that maybe that we would get a continuation with either Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man or Andrew Garfield, since his story was kind of ended abruptly, since there was never any third film to resolve what was going on. But at least we get to see Tom now in that new costume we saw at the end of No Way Home, and I'm glad that for the title of the movie, it's not another no home related thing or anything. It's just different kind of story, and it's more grounded from the sound of things. Nothing to do with different dimensions or anything big cataclysmic world-saving biz. Just something more, apparently with Scorpion. Though I'm hoping that with after Secret Wars, whenever that will come out, and when I say probably, I want to say that's around 2027. After that, hopefully there can be some kind of soft reboot of the MCU, so that way we can get new actors for Captain America and Iron Man. So that way, REJ can probably still be Doctor Doom if he does a good enough job as the character, and that way we can have more of the classic Avengers team up. Because, but we'll see. But that's one thing I want to ask you guys, though. Like, as far as for DC, with oh, hey, it looks like our guest is ready for the show. One second. Hey there, Velvet.
Good evening. How you guys doing?
You're doing pretty good. I see you still got the nice. Yeah, it fits with the name and everything.
Yeah, man. I'm not hearing you super clear, so let me just adjust my volume here. All right. Let's see. I don't know. Is it better sideways? I don't know. All right.
I think it's fine sideways. Yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can adjust here. Do. Oh no, that is not helpful. How about this way? All right. Now that is in my way. And that is weird. All right, we're working on it, guys. Technical difficulties. You know what? I'm just going to go straight up because it works. So
Yeah.
sorry. Good evening. Hi, VelvetJoker, Nerd Culture News and Entertainment with my man Brian Day. What's going on, Brian?
It's going pretty good.
It's going pretty good. I'm glad to hear that. I heard from you earlier today. You went and checked out Fantastic Four. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
It is. Well, I mean, this is your show, so you run it, brother.
Yep. After between all the different conventions and everything, I finally got the time to see it.
Yeah, awesome. I saw it the day before TerrifiCon.
Oh, nice. I have to say, like, it was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. And if you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10,
I would probably go between 7 and 8.
7 and 8. Okay, yeah, I think that's about where I was thinking. I thought it was a solid story, and I thought the actors did a decent job. Um, we had to discuss behind the scenes. I thought there was kind of, without spoiling anything, there's a little bit of a villain montage toward the beginning that I thought could have been stronger if we had like a bigger one villain scene and having those, whatever was 2 to 4, I believe, villains in that montage. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I feel like there may have been a little something more, but to be fair, we are kind of familiar with the group.
Yeah. And when I apologize, I'm unplugging my fan because that's extra noise that we don't need in the background.
Gotcha.
Okay, and I'm sorry. You said once again. I apologize, Brian.
Yeah, I mean the montage I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was fun to see all those characters. I definitely like that.
Yeah, I kind of wish there was a little bit more of a little something more build up and how they got their powers and everything, how they adjusted to life now after the cosmic radiation thing.
Right. Yeah, I think they were purposely trying to skip the origin story, and they more encapsulated it in sort of like a little TV scene where they were like reviewing their history. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, for me, like I said, I felt the same about the rating, somewhere between a 7 and an 8. And maybe unfortunate for it that the most recent superhero movie that I'd seen before that was Superman, and Superman was so strong, and I was between like a 9 and a 9.5 on that, and that one just moved me more emotionally, where Fantastic Four was still a solid story and visually beautiful. They did a great job on the special effects. It's nice to finally see Galactus come to life in a viewable fashion and not a cloud in the sky.
Oh yeah.
And I thought the actress that played Silver Surfer did a really solid job of, bringing out some emotion in that character.
Yeah, because I mean, I wasn't familiar much with her character because I'm used to like with the I never knew his name much, but the guy, usually like the guy Silver Surfer.
Yeah, Norrin Rad was his human form, and as the Silver Surfer. Now, in the comics, Norrin Rad's love of his life was Shalabal, who lived on his planet of Zenla, which, of course, he sacrificed himself for to be the Herald of Galactus. But in alternate storylines over the years, they've had Shalabal become the Herald of Galactus. So I think that's what they decided to roll with. And I mean, there's always the people that are like, oh no, a girl is going to be a character. But if it comes from real comic lore and she puts out a solid performance, in my opinion, you have nothing to say.
I agree because like I had a feeling that there was like other characters that became Silver Surfer.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I can't say that I've read every comic ever, so there's always Elseworld type stories and what ifs that they put out there, or extra stories, or different versions of. So I'm not an expert on Silver Surfer, but like I said, she did exist in the comics. I thought she did a really nice job bringing out that character and showing some emotion. I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'm trying to keep it a little more general.
Yeah, that's one thing I appreciate with the cast. Like, not everyone was so typecast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was not familiar with the actress that played Sue Storm, but I thought she played a really also a really high commendable job portraying a mother and struggling with protecting her family.
Definitely, yeah. And I kind of like to view like where it's like the leadership is definitely between her and Reed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I thought I think it's Eben Moss Bacharach, who played Ben Grimm, the Thing. I think he did a really solid job. I've heard some people be like, "Oh, well, maybe he should have had a more gravelly voice," and I'm like, he had a voice that he had. That's why they hired that actor. They didn't hire him for a gravelly voice. They could have used anybody for that. And interesting enough, here I just found this out. You may find this tidbit interesting, Brian. Flashing back to the previous iteration of, well, actually 2 or 3 iterations back of the Thing. What was that actor's name? Oh, it's escaping me right now.
For which character?
I think it's the 2005 The Thing.
Oh yeah,
Michael Chiklis. Michael
Yeah,
Chiklis.
that was it.
Okay, so because Michael Chiklis has been in the news talking about stuff about Fantastic Four and trying to get a little buzz going. But a buddy of mine that I follow, who is a stuntman out of Philadelphia, and he worked on that Fantastic Four movie, said that Michael Chiklis was a huge d-bag, and they cut out a bunch of his parts because they wanted to throw him off the set because he was like the most narcissistic person they've ever dealt with.
Oof.
Yikes! Right?
I mean, that doesn't surprise me much, just because the kind of characters I see him play as.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's not too far off.
Okay. So that was like a little surprising, and that was sort of an insider tidbit I just learned. I saw my buddy posted that the other day, and I thought the audience might appreciate that. But getting back to this Fantastic Four, yeah, again, a super solid job overall. I'd give it either like a 7.75 or I almost want to say like a 7.9. It's not like I didn't feel like it was quite an 8. It was like just under an 8.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, because for me, I got more pulled into the film once Galactus and the Silver Surfer once they joined the screen. Because like with the I've seen that kind of build up where it's like how they're the world's most famous superhero team, they're beloved by fans
mhm.
and all that.
And did it bother you at all because I saw some rumblings before the movie came out that Johnny Storm wasn't going to be like a super Casanova, and they sort of portrayed him as being pretty intelligent and part of the information that he ended up deducing ended up helping them to defeat Galactus. So did you feel that the change in that character uh, bothered you in any way, or were you cool with the change in personality?
I didn't mind that really.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I didn't want it. I rather not everyone just be typecast. Like where Susan, like she shows intelligence as well as being a more of a diplomatic kind of leader for
Mm,
the group.
right, right,
Yeah, and same for Johnny. He's not typical like dumb pretty boy.
right.
Because I kind of feel like that's what they had Chris Evans do, where he was like the somewhat
Yeah, yeah,
stupid pretty boy kind of thing.
yeah. A little on the cocky side.
Yeah, and even with Ben, like how he's not so depressed or angry over his transformation stuff. He's
Right. Oh, and that was interesting with Ben too. They had sort of a female, well, a redheaded female that was interested in him, but in the comics that was always Alicia Masters, but that was not the character in this movie.
yeah, that's true. Because Alicia, she's usually blind.
Correct.
Hmm. But I say it's good just to try to mix things up a little bit.
Okay.
Yep.
We're sorry to hear about that, Angel. But we're just talking that we both pretty much like Fantastic Four. We gave it an 8, and we've been sort of breaking it down a little bit.
Yep. I was really sorry about what happened, Angel.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely, man. Condolences to you. But getting back to Fantastic Four, what about Herbie? What do you think of Herbie?
I liked him.
Yeah, he was super cute. It's like, "Bah, bah, bah, bah."
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I liked about this movie is that I'm not really familiar with the Fantastic Four lore, just mostly with most of the movies and a little bit of the animated
Oh,
shows that they may have appeared on or
sure.
guest starred.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting just to see like more of the kind of villains they face, as well as other characters in their world.
Right, right. Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
I dug it. It was fun.
yeah. Even for Galactus, yeah, I'm glad that's not just some cloud of or pure energy or something. But I mean, as far as their motivation goals, like it's somewhat unique, but nothing too standoffish. Just like, oh, I'm cursed with hunger, and now I must find someone to take my place so I can finally die.
Sure. And I had predicted because I was like, how are they going to get them into the MCU? And I had predicted that they were going to lose to Galactus, and somehow they were going to lose their world, and then somehow they were going to get sucked in, or they jumped on the ship to like the regular MCU. Because it's no spoilers that the universe that they're in is not the typical 616 universe. It's their own reality.
Yeah, that's true. And I was thinking, like, would the end of this movie tie into the Thunderbolts post-credit sequence when their spaceship is entering their Earth's orbit?
Right, right. They didn't really tie that together, did they?
Nope, just an entirely different post-credit scene, which we're not going to say right away just yet.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We should leave that for people for when they get to see the whole movie. Absolutely.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, I think when this movie was initially announced, I thought this was going to be just like maybe set like in the 1960s, but like in the past of Earth's 616.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then somehow they would get pushed into the future. Yeah, there were a lot of possibilities that people thought, but you know, they made their artistic choices, and the writer wrote what he wrote, and you know, like I said, solid story, solid special effects. Um, I don't remember seeing any weird digitization. Everything looks super sharp. Oh, and I really thought it was cool when the Silver Surfer Shah LaBeouf, when she was crying, and how you could see the tears against her silver skin. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they did a good job with the effects. And I gotta say, probably the best design look of the thing.
Yeah, that was solid. And again, weird articles that came out before, or just when it had first came out, and they were like, "Oh, he's barely in the movie. He didn't have like an integral part." He was in the whole movie. He was in like 85% of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, like I said, Eben Moss Bacharach, who played the Thing, I thought he did a really great job.
Yeah. Let's see. What we got another comment from Angel Death. What's weird is that the putt master was mentioned, who was Alicia's stepfather, but she was not included.
Yeah, yeah. I think we were just talking about right before you got on, Angel, that they did have sort of a redhead romantic lead for Ben, but it was not Alicia Masters. So I don't know why they made that choice, but you know, maybe they didn't want that character in the universe.
Hmm. And plus, we'll see, given what could happen after Secret Wars.
Right, right, because they may end up introducing her back into whatever the new MCU is.
Yeah. But what is confirmed is that they are going to make a sequel.
Oh, see, I hadn't even heard that yet, so that's good to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not 100% certain, but I think that it's most likely there's going to make a sequel.
It seems like the sales are solid. I mean, they're not like blockbuster, but they're making money on it.
That is true. Her character being named Rachel Rosen was a reference to Jack Kirby's wife Roz, but I still would prefer Alicia.
Oh, okay. And I think also the universe relating to Jack Kirby, I think they called it the 828, which I believe is his birthday.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, there was some great Kirby stuff. You know, I didn't watch any of the Easter egg videos afterwards. I totally forgot to do that. I need to do that. Have you done that yet since you just saw the movie?
No, I have not just yet.
Okay. Well, that's always fun. And then when you get to go back, you're like, oh, there it is, there it is.
Yeah, because if this was a Spider-Man or Superman movie, I could probably spot more of the Easter eggs on my own. But
Sure, sure. Like yeah, you said, you're less versed in the Fantastic Four.
yeah, but we'll see. I mean, I'll probably take a look and see because I'm sure they usually always add some of these Easter eggs.
Exactly, exactly.
But what'd you think of the Mole Man?
Um, he was all right. He was interesting. Um, I mean, the Mole Man typically is a really, I mean, it's almost like a Danny DeVito type character. Um,
Yeah, only not as grotesque.
or in some cases more grotesque.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, yeah, it was interesting how he was sort of a diplomat once he was defeated. So I thought it was an interesting angle. Did you not care for that?
I thought it was funny. Plus, I am familiar with that actor.
Yeah, I mean he's typically a comedic actor mostly. I mean I have seen him do some decent dramatic stuff, but mostly I think he likes to fish in the comedic pond.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Yeah, and the other thing too that stands out about this movie is I felt that it broke away from the typical Marvel mold. I felt that it had a very different tone.
Yeah, in a way, it kind of reminded me of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie kind of vibe.
Okay.
Mostly for the fact that the director utilized certain source material aspects for creating this movie,
Mm-hmm.
like with the time period setting, the that whole retro, slightly futuristic 1960s vibe,
Mm-hmm.
and even with the costumes.
Sure.
Let's see. I love the movie, but what has me worried is that they ignore Reed and Doom's history and rivalry. That
Doctor
is
Doom
true.
means too much to me to substitute it with an evil Tony Stark. Well, we don't know what they're going to do yet, so
True.
to be determined.
Yep. Plus, there was that one scene I think during like the World Conference, the seat for Liberia was empty. But no worries, Angel. Like things can happen with the internet nowadays.
Absolutely, absolutely. But was there anything else we needed to explore about the Fantastic Four movie?
I think the only thing I could say is that Susan is probably the most powerful member of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. She definitely demonstrated that. I mean, we can't delve too much more into that, but to say that.
Yeah, I'm just happy that we're going to see all of them next year for Doomsday.
Yeah, I'd love to see her as Malice, and I think in an interview she had mentioned that she would love to play that.
Oh boy, that's going to be something.
Yeah, and that's when Sue went dark.
Yeah, I think I would put this somewhat of a tie. I think between Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, as far as for Marvel's side of movies, since there's I think at least 3 of them out this year.
Okay. Yeah. I like Thunderbolts too. Thunderbolts was strong, wasn't great, but yeah. I'd say it's about on the same level rating wise. But again, very different tones on both those movies.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I just like the dynamic between the Thunderbolts characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Fantastic Four movie. If for anyone that wants a more 1960s vibe, then this movie is definitely for any of you guys watching this stream.
Yeah. So we definitely it's a recommend for
Oh yeah,
sure.
definitely recommend.
But we're just letting you know. I mean, listen, it's funny because I've talked to some people this weekend at the event TerrifiCon, which we're about to talk about, and where I thought, like I said before, Superman was a 9.5, whereas I thought Fantastic Four was more of like a 7.9, 8.0. I've talked to people that thought the entire opposite. Some people did not like Superman. Some people thought Superman was more like a 7, 8. And some people thought Fantastic Four was the 9. So it's all subjective, as long as you're having a good time, we don't want to determine or give you any pre-existing expectations because you may think the total opposite of us.
Yeah, because like I'm not gonna be the one where it's like, oh, I like Snyder's Superman or the Christopher Reeve Superman better or something. It's just Superman is a character that can be explored in multiple takes.
Sure. We did, Angel. We did talk about the choice of going for Shalabal. And the short version is we both agree that since there is a comic character of Shalabal that exists in the Marvel universe, and there have been storylines about her. She is in canon, that character. She did a really solid acting job, I thought, or both of us thought, of portraying emotion. And in general, we thought it was a good choice. You don't always have to do Norrin Rad just because he's the old school favorite. Sometimes you can mix it up, and as long as you're sticking to comic lore, then we can't be mad at it. So maybe it would have been nice to see another version where there was a male Norrin Rad, but the whole male female flipping thing doesn't bother me either way, as long as a solid performance is put in.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah.
But I would say that pretty much it covers Fantastic Four. So
Absolutely. And so this weekend, we both went to the Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut, to TerrifiCon. Now, I went all 3 days, and you were there just Saturday, correct, Brian?
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. Well, it's not always in the budget, and these things happen. I actually went on like a shoestring budget because I literally just moved like the week before. I didn't have everything unpacked. I mean, I still don't have everything unpacked. We've only been back from TerrifiCon for what, 2 days now, 3 days now.
Mhm.
Um, and I had a fantastic time. Did you have a good time?
Oh yeah, it was good. As far as for Connecticut-based cosplay, TerrifiCon's is the place to go to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what was was there a cosplay highlight for you?
Yeah, I actually got to photograph the DC East cosplay group.
Okay. All right. And what were some of their strongest cosplays that you saw that day?
Let's see, there was a Jack Nicholson Joker.
Okay. Now, there were two of them that I saw there? There was a heavier guy, and then there was a thinner guy. Do you know which guy it was?
Actually, both of them, yeah, because I saw both of them at the photo shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, though the heavier guy, he really matched Jack Nicholson's look.
Yeah, yeah. I thought they both did a strong job, but yeah, the guy that weighed a little bit more, um, his costume was a little bit more on point.
Especially with the prosthetic thing to make the fake smile.
Yes, yes, yes.
And having that little posy that actually squirts out water.
Oh, I didn't see that. Nice.
Yeah, that was impressive. And I got to see a Big Barda cosplay.
Oh, I had heard about that, but I did not see that.
Yeah, it was.
Will you be posting pictures of that on your Facebook site?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Some of those ads will be coming pretty soon. Yeah, but I never thought I would see a Big Barda cosplay.
Well, that's because Mitch Gerards and Tom King were at Terrificon, and they are working on the Mister Miracle animated series.
Oh yeah, that's right. I've heard about that coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, and it just when I saw the stew, it reminded me of Just Like Unlimited,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I love that costume.
which is kind of funny since in Batman Beyond we see her without the armor, just like kind of an outfit that resembles more like
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman kind of vibe.
Sure.
But hey, I mean, I'm not the animator.
Yeah. So who else did you see there? Did there's the guy that used to be the leader of DC Cosplayers East, Robert Frank, right?
Oh yeah, he was there as Doctor Midnight.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen him do that before, and he ended up. Um, I was over by the media people at one point, and Robert was there, and we were chatting it up. And some guy was noticed as Doctor Midnight, and he goes, "Oh man, you got to go talk to." I'm so bad with names. The kid from the ET movie.
Oh yeah, Henry Thomas.
Yeah, Henry Thomas, because I guess Henry Thomas played Doctor Midnight in something. So he's like,
Yes.
"Oh, you guys got to go take a picture together." And I think he did end up getting that picture.
Yep, he did. Yeah, because Henry Thomas, he initially did the voice for Doctor Midnight
Okay, in
in the Stargirl series.
in the Stargirl series. Okay. Oh, he was the electronic one. He was the electronic thing that the young girl was, because there was a young Doctor Midnight in that, right?
Yeah, I think he was there for that one episode. I'm 50-50 on that, but like through the AI voice, that was Henry
Okay.
Thomas.
Oh, that AI voice was Henry Thomas. Okay, cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah, because that's one of the good thing about Stargirls. You get to see all kinds of Golden Age characters.
Yeah, yeah. I actually enjoyed that series when I first. I think the first couple, I think it took me a couple of episodes to warm up to it because I was like, oh, it's like a teen superhero show. It's going to be really corny,
Yeah,
and it did have some corn to it, but they also they weaved a decent story in there.
yeah, because it was interesting to see like it's all the mystery, like who's who in the town they're in.
Right, 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 right. So yeah, 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 absolutely. That was pretty cool. And were there any other standout cosplays for you?
Let's see. I briefly saw the Galactus cosplay.
I was gonna say, so Galactus, who was the big hit at San Diego Comic Con, I saw it in all the videos, is made by a gentleman out of Rhode Island. His name is Thomas D. Petrillo, and he has a company called Extreme Costumes. Now, I've seen him make robots since like 10, 12 years ago at like Super Mega Fest. And then his robots then he did this really awesome Bumblebee that was at New York Comic Con a couple years in a row, and then he did Hulkbuster, and Hulkbuster won the Guinness Book of World Records for largest costume that's ever been made.
Wow.
And so I saw him do an interview right after during San Diego, where he said that he expects to get now bumped up again on the Guinness Book of World Records because this new Galactus is 10 inches taller than the Hulkbuster was.
Yeah, because when I saw it walking through like the main floor area, I was like, "Whoa!" And I was just this from from the corner. I forgot. I think somewhere around the 300 or 400 aisle.
Mm-hmm. Now Thomas was the guy in the red hat that was sort of leading Galactus. He wasn't actually in the costume. He had one of his employees in the costume, and when he saw me, he's like, "Rich, where's the makeup?" Because he knows me as being the Connecticut Joker, where I was the Joker for like 30 years, and but now I've fully transitioned to interviewing creators, going to TerrifiCon, making relationships with creators, and just enjoying my nerddom. With hopefully one day I get enough views where I get a little part-time money, and then the super crazy wish is that either someone hires me as a host for a nerd culture show, or someone invests in me and I get my team to write something, and we write a nerd culture news show that's weekly. That's the super dream.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Just one second. Looks like I got more comments here. What Fantastic Four dynamic from the comics do you look forward to seeing in the future?
What? Let's see. What? Well, of course we want to see Doctor Doom, and then of course if we're gonna do that, we have to see him delve into hell to try to get his mother's spirit back from Mephisto.
Yeah, I guess to go with that storyline, and it looks like Angel also says, "Oh yeah, seeing Spider-Man with with Johnny, that would be cool."
Yeah. That's some old school stuff. That they were really good buddies, but now with them being from different universes, we'll see how they adapt.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys. I don't mind when they stray from the comic lore as long as the story's strong, because I don't really need to see those same exact stories that I've already read. I like them doing variations. We've seen very different Supermen acting over the years, whether it's in the animated stuff or in the live action, from Christopher Reeves, which was super wholesome and even a little on the corny side, to Henry Cavill, which was sort of a rougher, more angry, less worried about damage during his battles, to the newest incantation. So I like seeing different variations. It's fun for me.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, because like I do like the dynamic with Superman and Batman. Depend where it's a good thing or bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends. But I don't mind if we see Superman paired up with other heroes.
Sure. But getting back to TerrifiCon, did you have any other cool sightings or events that you participated in that day?
Let's see. Besides the photography event, I was mostly trying to get autographs and some selfies with a couple of the guests.
All right. Well, Tell me where you were successful.
Let's see. I managed to see both Carl Lumbly and Tyler Hecklin.
So you paid for autographs for both of those guys?
Yep.
Okay, so now tell me your interactions with each of them, please.
Let's see. With Tyler, he actually remembered me from an earlier convention I went to back in New Jersey.
Oh, great. That's awesome when you make a connection with someone that you've met before.
Yeah, and this was back when he didn't even have his show. He was just guest starring in Supergirl.
Oh, okay. So this was between the time where he did Teen Wolf and then he got hired on as Lois and Superman. This was when he was just guest starring on Supergirl.
Yeah, I think the convention I went to, it was at Heroes and Villains Fan Fest. That was
Okay.
2018, I think, or somewhere
All
around there.
right.
And yeah, and he was a bit talkative, and I mostly doing a favor with the autographs because one of my cosplayer friends, Michael Burns, he has this group picture with him and like 6 other Superman actors.
Yeah. I think I've seen that before. I knew Michael from back when I was in DC Cosplayers. These many years ago when I used to go to New York Comic Con.
Yeah, great guy. Yeah, he just needed Tyler's autograph. He got everyone else's in that group shot.
Okay. All right. So that wasn't for you. That was for Michael.
Yeah, actually, I'm not really much crazy for the autographs portion, but
Yeah. I don't really pay for those either. I get it.
yeah, and he wanted also one with Carl as well. But I figured it'd be easier because usually with the combo packages, it's less expensive somewhat.
Okay. Did you get to talk to Carl? Because Carl can weave a story when he wants to.
Yeah, a little bit, because he's really nice. I like what he did for Martian Manhunter as well as Isaiah Bradley from the Captain America 4 movie, and even with the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Sure. Absolutely. And so those were the only autographs that you went after?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, cause didn't have quite a lot of money to like meet others.
Okay. Did you end up taking a picture with either of those guys?
Oh yeah.
Oh, both of them?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those will be coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, you got to post those up. Those are cool. And did you talk to any other? Did you talk to any comic creators at all?
Unfortunately, no, because I was trying to keep track of some of the friends I brought with me. Want to make sure no one got lost or anything.
Okay, yeah, you gotta keep the group together. Absolutely. How many people did you come up with?
Oh, I brought in 3, two of my friends and my dad, because my dad's a bit likes the kind of stuff as well.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, did your dad get any autographs or anything?
No, he just usually likes just to hang around, just like look at the stuff, and he really admires the cosplayers.
Nice.
Because let's see, but I gotta say the biggest one I think I ever saw was there was one convention where there was like a balloon Thanos.
A balloon of Thanos.
Yeah, like someone made all these like balloons to resemble Thanos.
Okay.
But it was like big, like I'm not sure, almost not quite too like as big as Galactus, but pretty up there.
Yeah. Did you see the big Thanos statue that was at TerrifiCon when you first walk in on the left?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's made by a friend of mine. His name is Kyle Pasciuti, and he has a company called Decimated Designs. And right now, at this very second, I'm sure, he's working on the haunted house for Lake Compounds. He's designing all the creatures, how it's going to be this year, the whole format of it.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and he's the same guy that designed that Thanos and built that Thanos.
Yeah, because that Thanos, they did a good job with designing that. And the only other big cosplay that I ever saw at a convention was, I want to say it was something like that. It's some kind of mecha suit, like something you would see from one of the Alien movies.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? The kind like
the big yellow thing that yeah, it's like yellow. It's like industrial, and somebody gets in it to fight the alien, right?
Yeah, I think what I saw was something that was more silver.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure what that is.
But that's what it reminded me of. Trying to really see what the other cosplays. Let's see, because
interesting. Well, I had about 20 different interactions that I jotted down that happened at TerrifiCon. Is there any other stories that you want to tell before I just start ripping through these?
Oh wait, the last one I think I saw was first off, have you ever seen Gravity Falls?
No. What is that? Tell me what that is.
It's a Disney cartoon that is pretty dark for Disney, in my opinion, where
Okay.
it's basically like some of a dark comedy a bit, but it's still for
Mm-hmm.
kids. Where it kind of it's very has like very 1980s summer camp vibes as well as like other 80s kind of movies. Some
Okay.
borderline horror, but pretty much there's two characters that are supposedly are twins, but yet the cosplayers they're not related at all.
Okay.
But they nailed the characters, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. So they did a good job nailing the twins.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll have to check out later on what that looks like.
yeah, because it's like one is shorter, one's like taller. It's kind of like that Schwarzenegger movie with Danny DeVito.
Mm-hmm. Twins?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just like there's a height difference between the two cosplayers.
Right. I get you. Very cool. Nice.
Yeah, it's like one's kind of a slouch, and the other's like kind of like a science action hero.
All right.
So it kind of fits, in my opinion. I think with how they don't look that much alike, but that's just me.
Yeah. So did you by any chance, because this was an interesting year for TerrifiCon because Fan Expo was the same weekend, Fan Expo in Boston. And I think they had three big draws. I think they had Ewan McGregor and someone told me John Cena
Oh,
and Hayden Christensen.
wow, that's those are good choices to bring for a convention.
But I gotta say, I've watched a lot of over the last few days videos of Terrificon, and I've watched a handful of videos at Fan Expo. And I gotta say, the energy is not at Fan Expo. The thoughtfulness is not at Fan Expo.
Hmm.
The I don't know. It looked almost amateurish. After going to Terrificon for years and being to a lot of different conventions, New York Comic Con, Boston Comic Con, almost every comic convention in New England, um, it just felt a little like underwhelming.
Mm, that's kind of how I felt about with ConnectiCon the past few years or so, just because it used to be a bigger deal.
Okay.
Because like when I first went there, it was pretty
I
good
remember.
balance.
Yeah, I remember it used to be a huge cosplay mecca.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. And there was like they used to have like a rave night where you wouldn't have to pay extra, like because it's right next to a hotel where they would have the rave. You just go next door.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be, at least like I think 18 or so, or 20 or
Right. They
21.
did like a foam party or something, right?
Yeah, but now they don't have that anymore. Now it's just like somewhere else. I guess an actual club, but that's where you have to pay extra.
Right, of course. You always got to
And
pay, man. You always got to pay.
and they had like this huge video game section,
Mm-hmm.
and they would have like all these games from Japan that you could try on, and no cost at all. But now it's just dwindled.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Even with the guests and some of the merchandise, like there was like a couple of areas where you could find comic books. Now, none of that.
Right. That's a shame.
Yeah, just mostly other merch, like with posters, keychain designs. They have all the other stuff and posters, but
Right.
it's just more anime focused, especially with the with most of the guests.
Right. And it's interesting with Terrificon too, because I mean, I don't know how they ended up on sales or anything like that. I mean, Mitch doesn't tell me his sales, but I know year after year they've always made more money year after year since they've done it. And this was the 10th anniversary at Mohegan Sun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they churn out a fantastic product.
Um, and I always thank Mitch. I'm very thankful, that he lets me come to this, and I know everyone. I know his staff. They take good care of me. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because I would say for this is what ConnectCon used to be, in my opinion.
Right. I know. I think last year there were over 35,000 people that went through those doors in one weekend.
Wow.
And I remember when Mitch first started, he started consulting in a con that was like in a motel in West Haven that I don't even think exists anymore.
Yeah, I think he mentioned that when I interviewed him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, Mitch is a good guy. I've known Mitch for like close to 20 years now.
yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, we used to go to the same comic book shop, which was, if you know the history, I think you might know the history. I think it was Eric's comic book shop in Milford, Connecticut.
I never been there. I don't think, at least at the time, but
Gotcha. But anyway, again, I had a fantastic time. I got a bunch of notes in no particular order. I can just start ringing these off. So I bumped into Ming Chen from Comic Book Men, and you've seen that series, right, Brian?
Ming
The,
from
the Kevin Smith show, Comic Book Men.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few of those.
Yeah. So Ming Chen was there. He's been at TerrifiCon a bunch of times, and when I first came to the con, I bumped into him. I was there a half hour before it actually started. I got to get in a little early, and he was one of the early guests that I bumped into. And he was like, "Man, your hair looks nice," and I was like, "Thank you very much." So later on in the con, I got to just take, like, when I say I interview a creator or a media star, I basically just ask them one or two questions, and that's it, and hope for maybe later on down the line getting a long form. And I talked to Ming when I bumped into him, and before I recorded, I said, "Hey, do you have an email or something where I could reach out to you, do a long form interview?" And he's like, "Oh, just reach out to me on my socials." He goes, "I'll totally respond." So hopefully at some point I'll get a full length interview with Mr. Ming Chen, who is, I noticed last year he was filming interviews with different guests. And so I delved a little deeper behind the scenes, and apparently he is working on his own show. It's him, Brian O'Halloran, who was also on the Kevin Smith show, and comedian Don Jameson. And what they want to do is they basically want to show the world how much fun people have at cons and what con nightlife is all about. So, I wish him the best. He has my full support, and I hope to see that he gets that greenlit one day.
No, that sounds very good.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to roll through because, again, in no particular order. Then I bumped into, he is a TerrifiCon staple. He is a comic book writer. His name is Paul Kupperberg. Now, Paul is he's an old, like, crusty Jewish guy from Queens, and I grew up in Queens, so me and him, we kind of vibe. And sometimes he can be kind of brusque, but it's like that fun New York brusque. Where he's got more like busting balls. He's not really kind of being a dick.
Yeah.
But he is known for, he's known for three things. He is known for a really good run of Doom Patrol. He's mostly a Bronze Age guy. Peacemaker. And also he is known that he actually wrote the comic book where Black Manta kills Aquaman's baby.
Wow.
So I got to ask him what he thought of, like, Doom Patrol on TV and what he thought of the Peacemaker series, and both of them that he really enjoyed. So if you got any of you guys that are following this, if you want to follow the links, hopefully Brian has up of mine. Videos will be coming through of almost everything that I talk about. I'm kind of giving you guys some background, but videos will be coming about with these interviews, with all these interactions that I'm telling you right now.
Nice. Can't wait to see these videos.
Yeah. So that was with Paul Kupperberg. Now, I didn't have well, I had a little bit of interaction. So at one point, I was walking past Mitch Gerard and Tom King's table, or I was walking like really close to it, and I see Walt Simonson coming toward me, who is super well known for his Thor run for like 8 years, amongst other legendary Marvel things. So he's walking toward me, and I end up seeing him ask for Tom King because Tom wasn't at the table, and he's like, "All right, well, you just let him know that I was looking for him." So, and then he he walked off or whatever. So I thought that was kind of a cool interaction because Tom King is a really popular comic book writer right now, and Walt Simonson being a legendary comic artist, maybe there's going to be something coming in the future. So maybe I just saw the first seeds of that. So being a comic fan, that was pretty damn cool.
Nice, yeah, because for Tom King, he was among the people that were invited to the Superman movie set, right?
Well, yeah. Yes, he was. He's also a big-time consultant on both the Superman movie and the Supergirl movie that either they just finished. I think they just finished filming. He wrote the comic Supergirl World of Tomorrow, which most of that movie is based on.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as I told you before, Mitch Gerard and Tom King are both working on the Mr. Miracle animated series together, so that's why they were sitting together.
Nice.
And I got to talk to Mitch Gerard at one point when he stepped away from his table, and I said, "Hey, Mitch, I don't know if you remember, but I interviewed Tim Seeley a couple months ago, and you've liked and shared some of my pieces." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, Rich, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I was like, "I've tried to reach out with you on the socials, and you haven't been responsive. I'd really love to get a long-term interview with you." And so Mitch gave me his email, his direct email. So hopefully in the near future, I'll also get a long-term interview with Mitch Gerard, which is pretty cool to me.
That'd be cool.
And also on the Tom King front, just since we're talking about it, I ended up talking to his handler, who is actually his direct assistant, and I've got her email also to try to set up a long-form interview with Tom King.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, I do appreciate sometimes when I ask some of these guests that they can just provide me like with their agent's number or whoever.
Yeah, I find that's a lot easier with comic creators than it is with media stars. And it also depends on the level of the media stars. Like I was talking over this weekend to Robbie Rist, and I didn't get anything on camera. I meant to later in the weekend, but by the time I did, and Robbie Rist was one of the original. He was the original Michelangelo in the first TMNT movie. And for fans that go back far enough, in the Brady Bunch, he was Cousin Oliver. And it was long rumored that was the last season of the Brady Bunch, that because Cousin Oliver came, it ruined the show, and then the show was over. And I talked to him a little bit about that, again, not on film, and he said, listen, the show was on its way out, but sometimes the legend is better than the actual story. So usually when I go on film, I just tell the legend. So that was cool. So on Sunday, when I meant to get back to him and get him on film, only his wife was there packing up, and I talked to her, so I got his email as well. Because again, I'm saying the level of star that he is versus the level of star of like a Tyler Hoechlin would be less apt to give me like an agent's number or an administrative assistant's number.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that story. And then it was really interesting. TerrifiCon has a fan, and he's become a fan of mine. He watches, like I do, a lot of nerd culture shorts. His name is Ben Schaefer, and he's from Melbourne, Australia. And he came on Thursday and left on Monday. And he came to TerrifiCon, and he gave me a package of these great Australian cookies called Tim Tams that I totally devoured on Friday night.
That's great. I will say one. This reminds me of a different TerrifiCon experience.
Go ahead.
It wasn't this year. It was, I want to say, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Where I bumped into a guest star who I met at a very different convention.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part is, this was not in line at his booth.
Okay.
He was just taking a break, just walking around the merch aisle.
Right.
I recognized him, bumped into him, and he's like, "Hey, I remember you. You're that guy from the New Jersey convention." It was
Mm-hmm.
We were talking for a bit, and then
Right.
we just grabbed a selfie together.
Right. And who
Yeah.
did
No.
that end up being? I'm sorry.
Oh. Wow. I feel so horrible that I forgot his name, but he was Prometheus on Arrow.
Okay. I'm not sure who that was, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but he's like one of those people that they're bad guys, but he's like really nice as an
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's cool. That's always nice when that happens, when you make that connection with those guys. A lot of these stories are going to be about connections tonight.
Josh Segara. That was it.
What is his name?
Josh Segara.
Josh Segara. Okay, I will have to look him up as well.
He was on Arrow and also on the She-Hulk series.
Oh, who was he in She-Hulk?
He was like that male. He was one of
Oh,
the
he was
male.
the guy in The Office.
Yeah, the male lawyer. But
Yes, yeah, I liked him. He had a great personality in that show.
Yeah, that personality is not too far from how he actually is, at least at conventions anyway.
Nice, nice. Glad you guys made that connection.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I bumped into on Friday. He had a table there. Owen King, who is the son of Stephen King.
Oh.
Yeah, and now he has another son named Joe Hill that puts out comics and stuff. And Owen looks a lot like his dad. And he was promoting. He had a graphic novel called Self Help. It's a crime drama about an Uber driver that takes over somebody's identity.
Wow, that's something.
Yeah. And so I was psyched. He let me, he talked about that on camera. And then I asked him, how it was being able to whenever they mention his name, I'm sure they mention, his dad's name. And is it difficult to differentiate himself? And he said, "Look, man, that's going to be on my tombstone." He goes, it doesn't bother me, and he had a great, discussion about it. So again, that'll be on a video that I'll be putting out. But interestingly enough, now my sister is a writer, and she produces plays in New Jersey, and she actually just started an online bookmobile, and she's going to start doing some book conventions, and she's selling some products and stuff. And so I told her Friday night, I was like, oh, I talked to and I got on camera the son of, Stephen King, and she's like, did you get something signed for me? I was like, no. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see him again. I said, I'll see. I'm there all weekend. I said, I'm definitely gonna see him again. I said, I'll go by his booth. What's the book you like? And she's like, oh, it's Sleeping Beauties. And so I went back to him. Oh, because I'm sorry, I'm circling back. When I interviewed him, I also asked for advice for my sister. So when I came back to him the second time, I said, hey, I remember my sister was a big fan and you gave the advice. She told me she loved Sleeping Beauties, and it just so happened that he had a comic book put out by Dark Horse, Sleeping Beauties. So I grabbed number one. I was like, I'd love to buy this. Would you sign it? And he goes, oh, I'll totally personalize it for her. He asked me how to spell her name, wrote to Rachel, from Owen King, and drew a little squiggly evil smile on it. And I sent her the picture, and I'm a great brother.
There you go.
Yeah. So that was, again, another great, interaction at TerrifiCon, where I'm starting to start a thing. It's TerrifiCon, where the magic happens.
That is definitely true, yeah. Because I really like the guest stars that they brought in. Like, I definitely went in line when they brought in Jonathan Frakes. I think that was 2 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I had any interaction with Jonathan Frakes, but I heard he was a nice guy.
Yeah, he was.
Awesome. Now, I also got to reconnect with Bob McLeod, who is the co-creator of the New Mutants. Now, I used to be on a podcast that within 6 months of us coming together, we actually won what was called the Amalgam Podcast Award. We were like some kind of like new hot podcast on the scene. They were called Splash Pages. They were on the Dorkening Podcast Network. They were at TerrifiCon. They had a booth in that first corridor there. And good for them. They actually ended up scoring an interview with Kevin Eastman this week at TerrifiCon. But as I was saying, when I first went solo, when I left them, the first creator that gave me my solo shot at an interview was New Mutants co-creator Bob McLeod. And we did a great interview. I got a lot of views, and it gave me the confidence that I could solo without a podcast behind me. Now, I still use my buddy Cliff from Cliff on Comics. He's my right-hand man. He's my tech guy, and he chimes in with a few questions. But for the most part, they're all for me. So during that interview, Bob had told me, because he ended up leaving the New Mutants in less than 20 issues, and I think he was worried about being typecast as only working on young characters, because he had done some X-Men stuff, and again, this is in the early days when they were all still super teenagers. And Louise Simonson, who was the editor at the time, suggested that he not do that because she knew that it was going to be a hot seller and that he would make good money on it. And he said soon after he left, some really nice checks started coming in, and he ended up regretting ending early. But I always wanted to get Louise's side of it. And last year she was supposed to come to TerrifiCon, but she got sick and ended up canceling. Walt came, but she did not. And so I approached Louise. She had a short line at one point, and I asked her, Louise, can I put you on camera? And she's like, well, what do you want to talk about? And I kind of gave her the short of the story, and she goes, okay, give me a second to think about it, because it was a long time ago. And so she goes, okay, I'm ready. And I go through that whole story about, how, Bob McLeod and the advice and all that I just told you all you guys. Mm-hmm. And apparently, Bob was going on his honeymoon, because before New Mutants #1 came out, they did a New Mutants graphic novel, because apparently, as I learned from Louise, Walt was late on one of his graphic novels, so they need something to fill the space. So they took New Mutants #1, made it a graphic novel, and then did a New Mutants #1. And Bob created or co-created many of those characters that were, became the New Mutants. He also was inking it at the same time. And so, but he went on his honeymoon. And Jim Shooter, who was the Marvel editor-in-chief at the time, who just passed away recently, told Louise to fire Bob because he wasn't going to get it out in time because he was going on his honeymoon. Ugh. And so what Louise told me is that she lied to her teeth. She told Jim Shooter that she would fire Bob, but she promised Bob that she would keep him on the book, and she was true to her word. And he went on his honeymoon, and he worked on it on his honeymoon, and it was just in a little bit late. And her and Jim Shooter had a little bit of a problem for about a year. But she said it was worth it because, Bob was a great artist, and it was better to have integrity than to shit on an upcoming creator at the time who ended up becoming a legendary creator. But she said over the years, she went back and forth with Bob. They would go back to being good again, and then something would happen, and they would fight. But it was like a typical working relationship. Sometimes you get along with people you work with, sometimes you don't. But in the end, they still ended up having a long friendship. So I thought that was a great picture of comic book history.
Yeah, it happens.
Absolutely.
Wish it didn't happen to Zack Snyder at the time during 2017.
These things do happen, indeed. Now, in just keeping also in the Louise Simonson family, I did get to bump into Walt Simonson one more time. And to preface, last year I was over his shoulder filming when he was drawing Ben Grimm's head. And he's a huge Fantastic Four fan. He worked on the Fantastic Four for, I think, 2 or 3 years at one point. And I also filmed him he has a famous signature that looks like a brontosaurus, where he gets his Walt Simonson in the brontosaurus's shape. So it's very cool. So I think when he saw me, he felt a little more comfortable. He knew me. And I said, all right, Walt, can I get you on camera? Because Walt is known. He hasn't done interviews in years, no long-form interviews. It's either got to be at like a big network or he's not doing it.
I see.
So to get him on camera was really an honor. I felt really that he felt comfortable enough to even give me one question. And I was like, all right, Walt, you're wearing your Fantastic Four shirt. I know you saw Fantastic Four in the movies. What did you think about Eben Moss-Bacharach's performance? And he basically said that he loved it. And I thanked him, and he thanked me, and that was our really quick interaction.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because it's always interesting to get some of these writers' perspective on the movies that are coming out.
Yeah. Well, Walt is an artist. Louise is the writer. Walt is the artist in this case, of this family.
Right.
But yeah, and he worked on the comics, and I'm talking to legends of my childhood that put out these amazing stories, and not only do I get to just get them this, like I'm not even paying any money. I'm not like paying them for their signature. I'm not buying anything. I'm not getting a commission. They're just chatting with me as human beings, and I love building those kind of relationships.
Yes, same with me.
Yeah, it's great. And so another comic creator who is a superstar, Scotty Young. Scotty, I only saw briefly last year, and he always has a line of 30, 40 people where he's either sketching something or signing something, and this person next to him is just, the credit card is going. And but he's a rising star. He's a superstar. I think he's got some of his own comics, but like primarily, he gets on every variant cover. Like he has a very childlike style of art. Are you familiar with him?
Not so much his work, but he's a new one, right?
I would say in the last like 5-10 years, he has really been rising. So I saw him, like I said, he's always got 30, 40 in line. I saw him, I want to say Saturday night. And Saturday he had the line, and I saw an opportunity because his finance person who was like just chucking the debit cards was having a problem with the machine. So I knew I had a moment. And like I said, we had a brief interaction last year. So I kind of came behind his shoulder, and I was like, Scotty, this reminds me of a story where like Arnold Schwarzenegger has a procession, he's a movie things, and he's got a guy behind him. And Arnold Schwarzenegger goes up to the guy and goes, hello, it's very nice to meet you. You are very strong. And then the guy taps him, and then he moves to the next guy. He goes, hello, you are so strong. It's very nice to meet you. And then he taps him. And Scotty started laughing. So I was just trying to get in his head a little bit. So I stepped off, and he laughed and whatever. And so the next morning when I came in, I ended up seeing Scotty, and I just got lucky. There was nobody in his line. So I was like, Scotty, he was like, hey, what's up? What's up, Rich? And I was like, can I just get you on camera? I just want to ask you one quick question. And I got him a quick question, and it was beautiful. And I posted the first night. So that you can actually see online. It's on the Foot TerrifiCon fan site, and I've got it on my own site, Rich Davis. And you can see, let's see, it's on Instagram, it's on YouTube, which you're looking up VelvetJoker. I don't know if you can put up my links at all, Brian. For anybody who's watching might be interested in checking out some of those videos or the videos I'm talking about in the future that'll be posted. Like tonight, I'm going to be posting one about Stephanie Phillips, which, oh, look, she's next on my list. Nice. So Stephanie Phillips is a comic book creator. She is brilliant. She's done tons of things. And during San Diego Comic-Con, it was announced that she has a new She-Hulk series that's going to be coming out in November. and it's rolling off the Marvel Imperial series. So somehow the storylines tie in. I didn't read Imperial, but I know the news. Now, last year she was at TerrifiCon also, and I totally whiffed the interview. I asked her like some bad question about as a female comic creator, and I saw her eyes roll back in her head.
Oh
And
boy.
she gave me like a half-assed and kind of like at the same time snarky answer because I asked a shitty question. And I don't even think I ended up using this content because I was so embarrassed. So this year I'm like, I'm going to redeem myself. So I go in and I'm thinking before I even get there, I'm like, okay, who were the classic She-Hulk series storyline or creators? And I'm like, okay, there was John Byrne, and then there was Dan Slott. So I asked her permission, as I always do, and she said yes. And I go, I'm going to ask you about She-Hulk. She goes, great, that's coming out in November. So I asked her about it, and I go, all right, I got Stephanie Phillips here at TerrifiCon. I go, first there was John Byrne. Then there was Dan Slott. Now, Stephanie Phillips. Let's talk She-Hulk. And she lit up, gave me a great answer, and I just put that out yesterday, and it was a nice piece.
That's good. It's good to hear that everything worked out in the end.
Yeah, I redeemed my whiff from last year. So, I mean, listen, we make mistakes. We grow. We learn. We get better. And sometimes, just bad things happen. Like I recorded 4 interviews. 3 of them were with totally independent guys. And 1 was with a well-known comic inker, Mark Morales. And I'm embarrassed to say the audio just does not exist on my videos. And I'm upset mostly about the Mark Morales and also Keith Gleason, who has a series for a few years now called The Mighty Mascots. And what I feel even worse about that is he gave me a whole graphic novel for free because he thought our interview was so great. So I have to reach out to Keith. We're going to do a long-form interview, and I got to give him another great interview.
There you go. Yeah.
So again, like I said, people make mistakes. Things happen.
Yeah, I agree because I hate when something happens like that with technical issues. And
Absolutely, yeah, it sucks, but you have to keep rolling because, like I said, I have all these other great, fantastic interactions, like with Keith Williams, who is a classic artist who's been around for decades. He is always on the comic convention scene. You can see him at almost every comic book convention in the New England area. He's always at TerrifiCon, and he was the inker on the John Byrne Action Comic Superman back in the, I want to say, late 80s, maybe even mid 80s, possibly. And I don't know why I was ever afraid to approach him, because I finally approached him this year, and I talked about that with him being on John Byrne and the Action Comics. Not that he's not a fantastic artist in his own right, and he's still on things and has been on things for years as an artist. But I asked him about the Superman movie, and he could not stop raving about how much he enjoyed it, and he thought it was like one of the best Superman movies that he's seen since the Christopher Reeve movies. So again, another great interaction with a legendary comic creator. Another awesome get was Mark Silvestri. Now, Mark Silvestri was one of the 5 that in the 90s left Marvel and started Top Cow and Image Comics. Now, Mark's line was insane all weekend, so I didn't get to talk with him or get him on film, but there was a point where I was kind of situated to his left. So I waited for my opportunity when he was in between people, and I was like, hey, Mark, can I get a head tilt and a smile? And I took a picture of him, and just as I was taking that picture, chills went down my spine. Because when Mark was at Marvel, he worked on some of the X-Men, and he was responsible for these evil characters called the Brood. That were aliens, similar to like the Alien franchise, where they put their babies inside you and they grew and then they ate you. Ugh. But these were like really fearsome, and they had huge teeth. But I just saw that, I'm like, oh my god, the Brood is smiling at me. So that was cool to get that picture, though.
That is great. Yeah, I'm glad that for these comic book creators that they're very nice to
Yeah.
talk to.
Yeah. And now, switching over. Usually, I sit at a lot more panels, and I plan to do like 5 or 6 panels at TerrifiCon on Saturday. But for whatever reason, I ended up only going to 2 panels. Now, the first one was the Justice League panel, and so for the Justice League panel, they had 2 of the cast members. They had Carl Lumley, who you ended up getting the signature from, who is just a lovely guy, and he played Martian Manhunter in both Justice League and the second Justice League. Justice League, what was it, International? Justice League Unlimited. Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
I was gonna say,
And Justice League Unlimited. And
then and in Doom.
And in what?
The movie Justice League Doom.
Oh, and the movie Justice League Doom, yeah. And he's just a fantastic actor, and also was Phil Lamar, who played Green Lantern, John Stewart in both those series, and countless video games and other iterations that he has played John Stewart.
Oh yeah, he was pretty much like the voice of one of the many voices of my childhood during the early 2000s.
Absolutely. And now, so since I've been doing online content for the last a little over 2 years, I've done a fair amount, I want to say at the very least, quarterly sort of fan pieces on Phil Lamar, whether it was Green Lantern stuff or Static Shock, or some of his live action stuff. And I've always tagged him on it. And about a year ago, Phil Lamar friended me on TikTok. And he shared a few pieces of my content, and we've had a few verbal interactions. We've actually talked about each other's sons before. And I almost didn't go to this TerrifiCon because I said earlier, I literally moved a week before TerrifiCon, and I was not going to have a ton of money. I was on a shoestring budget. I basically had enough money for food and my room and little else. I had a little bit of a budget if I wanted to spend money, but I only basically bought that one comic book for my sister and nothing else. So anyway, getting back to the Justice League panel. So I watched the panel. It's a great panel. It was very informative. And then as many of all the TerrifiCon panels afterwards, you get an opportunity to ask questions of the media stars. So when it was my turn to get up there, I started with Carl Lumley, and I asked Carl about, there was an episode of Justice League where Superman brings Martian Manhunter John Jones to Ma and Pa Kent's farm for Christmas.
Oh yeah,
and it's a super heartwarming episode.
Very.
Yeah. So I asked him about that, and he gave me a lovely, lovely answer. And as soon as those panels drop, I'll be cutting that up and releasing that as well. And then I turned to Phil Lamar, and I honestly, I had a million questions for Phil Lamar that had nothing to do with John Stewart or Justice League. But I didn't want to blow the opportunity that this is a comic book convention, and that's what the audience is looking for. So I asked him if he ever got the opportunity to talk to Neil Adams, who created John Stewart Green Lantern. And he did, and he told a great story. Again, later on when the panel drops, I'll release that video. And then I stepped away, and a few more people had questions, and then it was the end of the panel. And at that point, I had moved to if you're looking at the stage, I went to the left toward, which would have been the exit doors where everyone would leave. So they start to walk in our direction. And I turned to a buddy of mine that was there, and I hand him my phone. I'm like, I'm going to ask for a picture. Even if they say no, if I'm standing in front of them, you take that picture, goddammit.
Yeah, I'd already told me this.
I know. And fortunately, they said yes. And I went over to them. They were going to like stand together. And I was like, hey, can I stand between you guys, and then I'm like, is it okay if I put my arms around you? Because you want to be respectful of these guys. Some people don't like to be touched. You got to be respectful when you're in these kind of situations. So I put my arm around them both. We took a fantastic picture, which you have seen, and it has thousands of likes over 5 platforms. I haven't even released it with like the story yet or anything like. Well, actually, I haven't put it out on 5 platforms. Only Facebook and Instagram has seen that, and the foot follies. But just that, I think, is like 1,500 views. I think I saw between the 3 or 4 things just on that picture, and it's a great picture. It almost looks like we're clubbing. I have a really nice vest on, and they're dressed fairly nicely, so it doesn't look like we're at a Comic-Con. It looks like we're at like a nightclub event. And being such a fan of Phil Lamar and knowing what a genuine, awesome, kind man that Carl Lumley is, it meant so much to me, and I was glowing for hours. Glowing!
Yeah, because I liked when Phil Lamar, he liked a post I did when I had it was 2022, I think, when I managed to get a selfie with him, Susan Eisenberg, Tim Daly, and Kevin Conroy.
Nice.
Not all the same time. It was separately.
Okay, because they were at TerrifiCon all together one year.
Yep.
Yeah. And Kevin Conroy, of course, legendary Batman for Batman the Animated Series. He was in Justice League. He was in countless. I mean, he's every generation's Batman. I mean, if you're like, oh, who's the best Batman? I automatically think of Conroy. I'm not even thinking of live action. I mean, but yeah, Kevin Conroy, who was the months before he passed away, he was at TerrifiCon. And he was just such a beautiful, genuine guy. I met him twice there. The first time I met him, the first year, I want to say is the first year that Mitch, I want to say it was 10 years ago when Mitch first came to Mohegan Sun. He had Kevin there. And I remember I was there for the weekend. I was a cosplay guest that year because I used to be the Connecticut Joker for decades, which I cosplayed as. And Mitch had me as a cosplay guest. And Friday night, I went in without the makeup on, and Kevin was at his table. And I was like, oh, Kevin, I just want to introduce myself. You know, I'm the Connecticut Joker. Tomorrow I'll be here with the makeup on. And I have a really loud, boisterous laugh. And I just want to kind of give you a heads up when you see it, and I don't want to like freak you out. And he goes, oh, they warned me about you. So that's like my first interaction with Kevin Conroy. Again, magic happens at TerrifiCon.
Yep, I think I went there that first year. I want to say it was either 2014 or 2015, but
I think it was 2015, I believe.
Yeah, because I remember it was a different place at Mohegan.
They were at a smaller area of Mohegan at that point before they went into the grand room that they're in now.
Yeah, I did a voice impression and with the laugh, and he was utterly shocked. Like I saw the look on his face. It was like,
yeah. It's always nice getting their attention, especially when, I mean, he is a humongous talent, and that voice, I mean, it's unmistakable. Even when he's not putting on the Batman, he's got such a rich, deep, gravelly. It's sexy. It almost like I'm a totally straight guy, but that voice makes me bisexual a little bit.
Yeah, it is a great voice. I mean, sadly, when I went there on the last con he was at, he didn't exactly remember me. But granted, it was like almost 10 years later, so like that's understandable.
Sure, absolutely, man. Believe me, he met a lot of people.
Yeah, he always has long lines.
Yeah, and I think the only reason he recognized me the second time was because of the makeup, because he had seen it before, and the boisterous laugh. So it's become epic over the years and legendary and synonymous. And I belted it out a few times at TerrifiCon this year. But, always a good time. Always a good time at TerrifiCon where the magic happens. Now, I had a few more interactions here I could just try to bang out real quick. I know we're already going toward like an hour and a half.
But Tony Harris, who is the creator of Starman, him and his wife, I've known them. I've met them at like 3 different cons. Tony is a tremendously nice and warm guy. And they live down in Georgia. And his wife, Becky, is also lovely. And I ended up talking to them just like about life, about the con, about like just random stuff, like all throughout the weekend. Like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday went past the thing numerous times. How are you guys doing? Are you getting everything you need? And so we just had this great interaction. And then at one point on Sunday, I was trying to come up all weekend with something for Tony, like a good question, but I didn't want to hit him with a Starman question because I was like, he probably hears that constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't at the table and Becky was at the table. And I told her, I was like, Becky, I've just had such a great time talking to you guys. I actually don't have a question for Tony. I was like, but I saw like back in November, like he was posting that it was the 30th anniversary of Starman. Does he like talking about that, or is he Starmaned out? She goes, oh, no, he'll love talking about that. So when he came back, we totally did it. And at first he's like, oh, you're going to put it on camera, Rich? And I'm like, yeah, Tony, come on. He's like, all right. He was busting my balls a little bit. And I asked him about the 30th anniversary of Starman. He gave me a nice long thing. And then he gave me an unofficial, not official, that hasn't been announced because of my first question I said was about 30th anniversary. Then I said, what about more stories in the future with Starman? And I'm sort of being weird about it because he was saying it and winking, but saying also that it was unofficial that he wasn't saying it. But it sounds like to me that we're getting more Starman stories.
Okay.
That is like, that's not announced at this point. That is a nerd factoid. That is cool. That is an exclusive right here.
All right. Very, very nice. Yeah, because I'm not too familiar with Starman the character. Like, is this like the
Well, you saw the JSA, so the chick was Star Girl.
Yeah.
Remember, there was a Starman that came in that series. That comes from his comic book.
Okay, yeah, that's what
the original Starman is his creation.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask, if this was like a Sylvester Starman as far as with the character, or someone else.
Oh, now you're testing me. On you know what? I don't think it is the Sylvester one. I think if I had my tablet in front of me, I'd be looking it up right now. But you can look up, because you probably have a computer in front of you, which version Tony Harris's Starman is. So we can let the audience know as well, for those that don't know. And as soon as you say it, I'm going to go, oh, yeah.
Let's see. I guess, let's see. Because for Tony Harris, he started this Starman. Is this like from 2016 to current right now?
Sure.
Let's see.
Well, yeah, it's 30 years. He's been doing it for 30 years. So we're in 2025. So this is since 1990 something. Or if you just Wikipedia Tony Harris. Tony Harris, comic creator.
Jack Knight.
Jack Knight, that's right. Yeah, because he's I think he's the original.
Okay. Yep. Character appeared 94. Yep. All right.
Yeah. So that was a great get. And let's see, who else do we have here? Really, only one more, and this was more of a cool vendor. On the right-hand side of the main, like, sort of ballroom, if the media stars were all the way in the back, the right side, there was a girl who had a booth called the Wonder Museum, which is it was a pop-up Wonder Woman museum. She's a huge Wonder Woman fan, and she had things that she was selling, but she also had things that were just part of her collection to be seen. She is I guess she's been doing a few cons, and this was her first time at TerrifiCon, and she said she's definitely coming back. She was collecting money. Any profits off anything that she sold were going to the victims of like battered women's shelter type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Christy. I know it's in Connecticut. It's Christy, and she friended me on Facebook, and I'm embarrassed I'm not remembering her last name. But I thought that was pretty cool, and so we did a little thing, and then afterwards I started asking her about Wonder Girl, because when I remember Wonder Girl from Teen Titans from when I was a kid, she had a red outfit and she was a brunette, but there have been like various iterations. So she broke down like all the iterations and how it was a retcon hot mess, but a fun retcon hot mess. So that was super informative, and yeah, that is most of my interactions with people of note and media stars. I mean, I also talked to some great smaller vendors and independent comic guys that'll also put out videos for, but I thought would be less interesting for the audience. But all in all, TerrifiCon was fantastic. Sharon put on an amazing show every year.
Oh,
and
yeah.
next year, I will also go all 3 days. And it will be the first year I will actually, in November, there's like a good deal or a better deal. It's not like cheap, but it's certainly cheaper to stay at Mohegan at the event, like the middle of November. So I plan on getting on that list this year so I can be on the premise, maybe chill out after the con, like go back to my room like an hour and a half before the con's over, shower, rest, and then go enjoy some of the restaurants and nightlife that Mohegan Sun has to offer and interact with all those creators in a public way.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder about doing that one of these days, because I feel like sometimes it's hard to get everything I would want to do within one day.
Yeah, I could have probably done it in 2 days. I probably could have just done Friday and Saturday, but you really kill yourself. Like, I have some friends that are podcasters that just seemed like they were running and dealing with technical problems, and it seemed like a lot of stress. And, you know, I spaced it out. I didn't overkill myself. Usually the month before TerrifiCon, I'm going over the list of creator guests and working on like 2 to 3 questions for each one of them. Like,
Yeah.
I have files, but because I was moving, I was packing that whole month, and there was no way I was going to get to do that. So most of my stuff was all on the fly, stuff that I learned just from being in nerd culture. Friday night, I did a little bit of questions, but like half of them I didn't even use. It was just great interactions. You know, TerrifiCon is where the magic happens. Meeting these creators, building relationships, taking great pictures. That last day, I took a great picture with a cosplayer of Mabaku, a female Joker.
Yeah, I saw that one.
The Bride from Creature Commandos.
Yep.
A guy who did this really cool Venom that had like 6 Venom heads coming behind his main head.
I know, that looks so cool. I was like, man, I wish that was there Saturday.
Yeah. So it was just a great event. You know, from cosplay to comic creators to media. Again, like, they didn't have those 3 bigwigs from Fan Expo, but Mitch he's not $1 million corporation. He's literally a one-man show. Literally. Yep. He does his own travel. He books the hotels. He does the layout of the cons. He figures out what the panels are. Like, he does it all. He doesn't have a staff that he pays. Like, all the people that are there that weekend are all volunteers.
Wow. Yeah, it's just amazing with the people he does bring over for TerrifiCon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That all comes out of his pocket. Yeah. And listen, behind the scenes things, for those that don't know, like, these media guests, when they're invited to a con, you have to pay for them. They're not just coming. So, number one, you have to fly them from possibly California, possibly from like London. So Mitch has to go back and forth. He's got to pay for them. He's got to pay for their Uber or Lyft to Mohegan Sun and back again. Those rooms aren't free. Mohegan Sun does not give him free rooms. He's got to pay for the rooms. And those media, especially the bigger guys, they have a guarantee. Now, I don't know what that number is, but let's say, for example, because we talked about before, Tyler Hoechlin. Let's say Tyler Hoechlin doesn't make his guarantee. And again, I'm totally guessing. I don't know what his number is, but let's say it's $5,000. So let's say Tyler Hoechlin doesn't make $5,000. Let's say Tyler Hoechlin only makes $3,500. Not only does Mitch have to pay for his flight back and forth, his food, his Uber, he has to make the difference in that guarantee. He would have to come up with that $1,500. So that's an investment and a gamble. And he's not inviting one media guest at that level. He's inviting like 10 of them.
Yep.
And the same thing with the bigger comic creators. The bigger comic creators don't pay for their tables. Mitch gives them the tables. He gives them the rooms.
Yeah, because I can't imagine what the numbers were for Jim Lee last year.
Yeah. So, it's a business as much as it's entertainment. And you interviewed Mitch. He doesn't feel he's just putting on a comic book show. He's putting on Disneyland. He's putting on a show.
Yeah, this is pretty much Connecticut's equivalent to Comic-Con.
Yeah, this is. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind it is the #1 comic book convention in Connecticut, and I'd say, for me at this point, New York Comic Con is too many people, and it has lost its soul. There is still a tremendous amount of things, an amazing artist alley. I would never say don't go to New York Comic Con. It is an amazing event.
Yeah,
but it's lost its soul at this point because it is a big corporation. It's been a big corporation for years, but the longer that happens, a lot of stuff, the emotion, the vibe, the energy gets watered down for the almighty dollar. And Mitch is a one-man show. He's an independent guy. And I don't know how much this year. I mean, certainly he made a lot of local news, but like last year, he made national news with a lot of news stories of things that happened at TerrifiCon. So he is a major player in the game in the Northeast for sure.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, because I would have liked to have seen Anthony Carrigan make an appearance, but I know.
Yeah, he ended up canceling, but because he had more things to film. So, but he did promise that he would try to come back next year as long as his film schedule did not interfere. So hopefully we'll see him next year because he was trying to do a big Superman thing because he had a lot of the Superman creators there. Also interestingly enough, I forgot to mention Dan Jurgens. Dan Jurgens is a huge Superman comic creator, and James Gunn invited him and a bunch of Superman comic creators, to the Fortress of Solitude set to visit one day. So I caught Dan on Friday, and I asked him if I could get him on film at some point over the weekend to discuss that. And every time I went by Dan's table, he was booked. He had so much work. He was knocking out drawings and doing signatures. And finally, Sunday was getting late, and I was getting tired, and I wanted to go home. And Mrs. Jurgens, Dan's wife, was still at the table. And I explained to her that situation, that I wanted to get that on film. And I was like, is there any way that maybe like I could get an email, like we were talking about before, where I can possibly do a long form and I could get that story? And she said, okay. She goes, I don't have to give you an email. You just go to Dan's website. You explain that story to him, and most likely he'll give you that interview. So again, once more, magic happens at TerrifiCon. I've got like 5 emails of managers or directly to the artists of possible long form interviews coming for this year, in addition to a bunch of independent comics. Oh, and I want to add one more. The stories never stop. I met the guy who is responsible for Celebrity Deathmatch. His name is Carl Paolini. It was claymation show where like he made like stars. It was like Mills Lane, who was like a famous boxing referee, was the referee of all these fights, and they had like Mike Tyson, fighting like Sylvester Stallone. They had all these like crazy fights, and they had like crazy comedic things that they said. They beat the crap out of each other and was bloody.
Yep, I remember watching a little bit of that.
Yeah, it was on MTV back when MTV had decent programming. And so Carl did that. Carl is also a professor of one of the major. He's a professor of sculpture at one of the major art universities in New York City. In addition, I didn't find out till after TerrifiCon, and it really bums me out because he's putting out a comic book which we discussed, and I got on film him talking about that. But he was selling these drives. He did a short film that was co-produced by Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill did 2 of the voices in the film. So I definitely am going to be doing a long-form interview to talk to Carl because he has a long history in nerd culture. And he's a Queens guy, and I grew up in Queens, and he was an Italian guy, and I grew up as a Jewish guy in Queens, and Italians and Jews in Queens are like the same people, so it was like going home. And once again, magic happens at TerrifiCon.
Yes, it does.
And that's all I got.
Wow, you definitely got a lot more out of the TerrifiCon than I did, I would say.
Well, again, I did the 3 days, and listen, man, I've built over 10 years of relationships at TerrifiCon. So I may, where other people have certain times and where mine may sound really cool and interesting, all these comic creators are approachable. They will all talk to you. Again, I didn't buy anything, and it didn't have to do with the relationships. It had to do with they're just people too.
Yep.
And they just have this really cool job of like something that we love and a genre that we really enjoy. So that's why I love coming to TerrifiCon. Oh, crap. One last story that's amazing. Circling back. I promise the last story because this is pretty cool. Circling back to Phil Lamar and how I talked to him about how Neil Adams created his character. Now Zia Adams, who is Neil Adams passed away last year, and Zia Adams, who is Neil's daughter, I've built a relationship and friendship with. So that night, Saturday night, I hit up Zia on Messenger, and I was like, Zia, I just want to let you know, I asked Phil Lamar about your dad, and he had a great story, and we ended up chatting back and forth on Messenger for about an hour. And she said, Rich, you're such a Joker connoisseur. I want to like share with you this piece of art. And I was like, all right, what is it? She goes, well, it was a pencil drawing that my dad, Neil Adams. Now, if anyone knows, Neil Adams is a huge Batman artist from the Golden Age. And he really he's the one that really made the cape flowy and have like the scalloped edge. He really defined the look of Batman. So she's like, he did a pencil drawing of the Joker, and I painted it. And so she showed me, she sent me the pic, and it was like this really kind of avant-garde picture of the Joker. He had crazy hair and one eye was way bigger than the other, and he has a crazy look on his face, and it's explosions behind him, but he's holding this delicate flower. And it was like this cool balance. So we were discussing the art, and she had a really beautiful, elegant frame around it. And I was like, oh my God, Zia, that is such an amazing piece. I would love to have it as a t-shirt. And she turns around and goes, what size, what color, long sleeve or short sleeve? So long story short, I am getting a Neil Adams, Zia Adams original. It's going to be signed by Zia on the shirt, in the thing, original t-shirt in the next month or two sent to me. How about that?
That is amazing. Because I love Neil Adams' work too. I mean, when I did my Batsuit design, Neil Adams was, I think he was, I forgot his place, but it was definitely within the top 6.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing. And I love that I built relationships. And she's like, are you going to be at Boston Comic-Con? I'm like, girl, I need a few months off. I'm just getting my life back on track again. I was like, it's only been TerrifiCon for a long time, but, I'm expanding online, and I'll expand my con, reach, but not till springtime. So again,
I'm so happy to just, be in these artists' lives, and they know that I exist, and they're real people, and they just want to talk about life.
Yeah, that's how I feel like with some of the cosplayers I've met the past few years as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes, there's some really creative people. I mean, I was on the cosplay scene pretty much since 1989, since Jack Nicholson did the Joker, and that was like my first cosplay at a comic book shop that I went to. I'd always been into like Halloween and dressing up for Halloween, but after 1989, the Batman, I did the Jack Nicholson Joker. I actually got like Magic FX thing, and I like built this all up with tissue and scar stuff to go over it, and I had the nice build up. And I went to my local comic show, and it was like a Halloween contest, and I won like $200 in like free back issues, and that was it for me. Then for decades I was the Joker pretty much until COVID.
Damn, but still, that's just amazing, and the fact that you put all the time and effort to build like that, all that up with the
Yeah, it was like my first time. I was like, I was so inspired by that movie, like Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. And honestly, now I've rewatched that many times, and I've watched it like a year or two ago. It doesn't hold up. The Jack Nicholson doesn't hold up. The makeup actually is bad now that I see it now. With all the iterations that we've had and the better technology, of course, but that was the best we had for that time.
Yeah.
Not to take away from his performance, but just like the makeup was and the outfits weren't that great.
I guess I still kind of liked it though, but I guess I'm just a sucker for the classics. But
yeah. Well, listen, as a sucker for the classics, I would never for years. Well, I never did. I never have shaved the mustache. I was like, that's what Cesar Romero did, and that's what I'm gonna do. And I even said for many years, I was like, Cesar Romero is my dad. You don't know.
That'd be something.
That's all I got, guys. So, I ask because, I'm on Brian's network here tonight. So if anyone enjoyed any of these stories, please check me out. VelvetJoker. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube.
Yep.
I've got these stories, and you hear what I'm all about. I'm all about making relationships, being positive, and, I never want to shit on the fandom. I hate negativity in the fandom. I hate seeing those on YouTube. I know they get more attention, but that's just not for me. I'd rather build up than break down.
Agreed. Yep. And just make sure for anyone watching, just check out in the description box. I put down the links for Velvet's social media platforms.
Absolutely. And listen, my man Cliff is not always available, so if some of these interviews aren't available with Cliff, I'll hit you up, Brian, and you can help host it for us.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course you can come up with questions of your own, man.
Yeah, that's great. Because I like discussing these kind of things, and like you, I don't want to be like all negative, like, oh, this is crap or something, or like, it's awful just because it's so different. It's like everyone has a different vision of a character.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can't be a staple like that. The negative fandom stuff, or whether they don't like it because it's a black character or a Spanish character. I don't care. Are they putting a good performance out? Is it believable? That's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like for certain characters to stay true to roots, it just depends. But if the actor does a good job, then it's fine.
Right. And I'm not saying that you can't be disappointed by something. You certainly can. I mean, there's certainly things you're like, all right, well, that wasn't the best performance. All right. They tried an iteration, or like, I know a lot of people were nervous about X-Men '97 when that was about to drop, because I mean, the original X-Men animated series was just so classic, but they knocked that out of the park.
That they did.
So on that note, I'm going to wish everyone, because we're almost at 2 hours, I'm going to wish everyone a good night. I don't know, you can do your own sign off there, Mr. Brian.
Not a problem. I say they did a pretty good job. Yeah, I want to thank all of you for coming on tonight, and sorry for Angel Death if we didn't answer most of your questions. But let's see. I just want to see what else he said. That let's see. Like a lot of casual viewers thought for years that the F4 were boring because they never had a strong adaptation. May, maybe. I mean, it wasn't my favorite group, but I like the dynamics, especially with this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, a lot of the Fantastic Four movies, you know, they didn't get a lot right, but they did get some stuff right. So there is and still an element of still being entertaining, even if it wasn't a fantastic movie.
Although I never really saw Fan 4 Stick.
What's Fan 4 Stick?
That's the 2015 reboot that fans call it, just because of how they put
The logo was. Oh, is that the one with Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that wasn't really well received, but I still found it entertaining.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things where it's not a great movie, but it's still like, all right, they got some fun elements, and that was cool seeing the way they did this, the way they did that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at that point I was going by with the fan base, and I guess a lot of things were not what fans were hoping for.
Right, exactly. I hear you, man.
It's all about experimentation, but as I said, I want to thank you for joining me on the show, and thank you for any viewers that stayed up till this late at night to be part of our discussion.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for checking in on the Fantastic Four recap and the TerrifiCon recap, and I hope you guys enjoyed some of the stories.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And for any of you who are still watching, just wait till this year's December when me, Velvet, and the Gotham Radio City Music Podcast are going to discuss on the best DC live action movies.
Check it out.
Have a good night, everyone.